A lot of people are hoping that this Friday DC will get their shit together and finally end the parade of suck that has been their past few movies. We'll admit, we're feeling pretty optimistic, so it inspired us to round up a few things. Here are 7 things you didn't know about Wonder Woman. Probably. Most people are at least semi-familiar with Lynda Carter's Wonder Woman from the 70s, but there's a pretty long history of people trying and failing to adapt the character for the small screen.
Wonder Woman.
Linda Harrison, Nova from Planet of the Apes, well, she played the very first Wonder Woman in an unaired pilot from 1967 called Who's Afraid of Diana Prince. It had a similar tone to the campy Batman TV show with Adam West. When that turned out to be an obviously terrible idea, they tried again in 1974 with Kathy Lee Crosby, but the pilot never got picked up to series and wound up being a standalone TV movie. Lynda Carter's Wonder Woman kicked off just a year later, but it only lasted about 3 years before it was canceled. They tried to do another TV reboot in 2011 with Adrian Palicki, but that also went nowhere and the pilot never aired. It's safe to say that Wonder Woman has been one of the hardest characters to bring to the small screen, but wait until you hear how long it was before she made it to the big screen. Haha. Segue. The Wonder Woman feature film has had more than a decade's worth of false starts. Everyone from Joss Whedon to Nicholas Winding Refn has been attached to direct at various points. Those guys even had their Wonder Women all picked out, Kobe Smulders and Christina Hendricks respectively. Though Smulders did eventually at least voice Wonder Woman in the Lego movie.
To the invisible jet! Dang it.
The distinction of finally bringing Wonder Woman to non-animated life on the big screen for the first time goes to Gal Gadot in last year's Batman v Superman, which happened 75 years after the character was first introduced.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Wonder Woman almost made it to the silver screen back in 2007 in George Miller's abandoned Justice League movie. FYI, for his Wonder Woman, he'd cast an Australian model named Megan Gale. Boom, bonus thing, boom, moving on. Let's talk about William Moulton Marston, the guy who created Wonder Woman, because there was a lot going on with this guy outside of being a comic artist. He had degrees from Harvard in law and psychology, and he invented the blood pressure apparatus that was critical in the creation of the polygraph. Kind of fitting that the guy who helped invent the lie detector also came up with a lasso of truth.
You must now tell the truth.
Then again, he may also have come up with the lasso because he was allegedly a fan of bondage and thought that binding women behooved their psychological well-being. Wonder Woman was meant to be a way to help teach girls that female submission could be a good thing. Marston felt that, and I'm quoting here, "The only hope for peace is to teach people who are full of pep and unbound force to enjoy being bound. Enjoy submission to kind authority and wise authority." Yikes. Marston was also in a polyamorous relationship with his wife and a live-in mistress who was one of his students. And the mistress-student, Olive Byrne, was supposedly the inspiration for Wonder Woman's physical appearance. Boom, another bonus thing. Anyway, good luck trying not to think about Marston's bondage kink whenever Wonder Woman whips out that lasso in the new movie. I, for one, am not going to fight it. Speaking of bondage, chaining Wonder Woman's bracelets together is basically her kryptonite. It causes her to lose her powers, and it was a recurring theme in the early comics. Really, they did it a lot of times, which is weird unto itself. But it's even weirder because of this detail. It only worked if a man did it.
What an unexpected pleasure.
Hera, give me strength.
Seriously, it was revealed in Sensation Comics number 10 that her powers remained intact if a female chained the bracelets. They did it so much that the comic was actually banned for a while in the 40s because of the sexual nature of her seemingly incessant bondage, as well as her costume not leaving enough for the imagination for 1940 standards. Yet another bonus thing. Anyway, a lot of people don't know that the chained bracelets were actually meant to be evocative of suffragettes chaining themselves to buildings in protest. Essentially, when they kept putting Wonder Woman in cuffs, it was meant to inspire the movement for women's voting rights. It probably also inspired several boners for Marston. Hashtag inspired boner, hashtag moving on. Chaining her bracelets together may strip Wonder Woman of her powers, but she's actually the most powerful when she doesn't wear her bracelets at all. The bracelets were forged from Zeus's shield, and while they're unbreakable and work as weapons, they're also meant to keep a lid on Wonder Woman's power. Her powers are so intense that she needs the bracelets just to keep them in check and protect her opponents from her full force. This bit of info was revealed in the so-called New 52 universe, which came about when DC relaunched their entire line back in 2011. Plus, there's that time when Wonder Woman beat Supergirl, who some argue is more powerful than Superman, and Wonder Woman did it with her bracelets still on. It's not unreasonable to conclude that Wonder Woman might actually be more super than Superman himself. Not to mention, once you factor in that Wonder Woman was inspiring boners for the Man of Steel in the comics not too long ago, boom, bonus thing, the question of which one of them is more powerful becomes even more stimulating. Hot cans. Next thing.
Who's this young woman?
Diana, Princess of Themyscira.
Prince, Diana Prince.
Like all superheroes, Wonder Woman has an alias, but you may not know how her real name inspired her alias. Wonder Woman's real name is Princess Diana of Themyscira. Themyscira is, of course, the Amazonian island she's from. So, Princess Diana became Diana Prince. We realize that's not a huge leap, but before we move on, I'll hit you with our 8th bonus thing of the day. Bondage enthusiast and Wonder Woman creator William Marston originally named the character Suprema the Wonder Woman, but DC ended up opting for brevity before her debut in December 1941. Honestly, Suprema sounds way cooler than Wonder Woman if you ask me, so I definitely would have gone with that over Wonder Woman. Then again, I'm an idiot. Last thing. I bet you didn't know that there was a mashup character that combined Wonder Woman and Storm from the X-Men. Back in the 90s, before DC and Marvel had a license to print money like they do nowadays, the comic book industry was in the toilet. Sales were so bad that they created a number of crossover projects between the two brands, one of which was the Amalgam label. And one character from the Amalgam universe was Amazon, a meta-mutant rescued by Queen Hippolyta. Amazon then trained to hone her ability to control the weather. Of course, any Wonder Woman spinoff wouldn't be complete without a hint of bondage, so Amazon also had a lasso of truth, but in this case, she could create it out of lightning. Because Storm. Alright, that was a lot of things and bonus things, so make sure to let us know if you like this episode. And if it's inspired a boner for part 2, be sure to leave a comment so we can get that on the old to-do list. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to CineFix for more true-ish things about movies and sometimes submission fetishes right here on Things You Didn't Know.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Please put the sword down.